BookTube! My name is Elizabeth and welcome back to the Owlery. Today I'm going to be bringing you my weekly wrap-up. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome! Thank you for being here. My weekly wrap-ups are basically like mini reviews of all of the books that I read this week because I read so many books. My monthly wrap-ups would just be ridiculously long. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on all of the books that I read this week. The first book that I read this week was A Crown of Wishes by Roshani Chokshi. So the first book that I read this week was A Crown of Wishes by Roshani Chokshi. This is the companion novel to The Star-Touched Queen. The main character in The Star-Touched Queen is the sister to the main character in A Crown of Wishes. And so our two main characters in A Crown of Wishes go into a competition, and if they win this competition, then they win a wish. Now, I didn't mind A Star-Touched Queen. The writing style was just not my favorite, and that really, you know, bled into this companion novel. I just am not a fan of her writing style. The idea of the plot sounded really, really good. I really liked the characters and their love story, but I feel like the way that she writes her story are just up for, like, there's a lot of interpretation that the reader can come from because of how she writes the book, and it's just not my style. It's just not something that I enjoy reading. I don't want to have to like think really, really hard about the themes and what could be or what she does mean or anything like that, and it's just the way that she writes. So it's beautifully written, don't get me wrong. The imagery and the you know, just the style and the syntax are just gorgeous. She's an amazing author. It's just not my style. So I gave this a 2.5 out of 5 stars because of those reasons, but purely they're like just my personal preference, and it's just not, it's not a bad book. I mean, this book has like 4.4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, which is like insane. I've never seen a higher rated book in my life. So having such a high rating on Goodreads really makes me believe that most likely if you were to read this, you would enjoy it. It's just, again, not my style, unfortunately. Next, I read On a Lark by Stephanie Deuel, and this is about a girl named Sid, and she's basically like one of those really smart genius types, and she is geeky, and she likes like LARPing, and she just has a lot of really geeky, cool interests. So the basic gist of the story is that Sid sees this picture of a girl at a police station while she's there on a field trip with her classmates, and she thinks that she knows where this girl was right before she was murdered, and that is a LARP based on her address, her attire, and a LARP is a live action role play, if you guys aren't sure what that means. So the story is told from Sid's perspective, and the way that it's written, I think she's got like some sort of ADHD, because one moment Sid will be talking about one thing, and then the next moment she's talking about something else, and it was kind of hard to keep track of what she was doing or her train of thought in that moment, and it really reminded me of like my little brother has ADHD, and it kind of reminded me of like listening to him speak. Like 1 second he's talking about this, and the next second he's talking about this, and the next second he's talking about this, and I have no idea where the conversation started or ended or where we're at now, and that's kind of like how it went with Sid. It really felt like she had ADHD. So other than that aspect of it being a little confusing to follow Sid's train of thought, I really, really enjoyed this story. It is extremely diverse. Sid identifies as a lesbian, and all of her friends are diverse in some way, other than the exception of like 1 or 2, but they are people of color, they are people in the LGBTQIA plus community, and it was just really, really interesting, and I liked how diverse this story was. I feel like it really portrayed a modern day friendship, like a group of friends, how they're all different and different colors and ethnicities and orientations, and I really, really enjoyed that aspect of the story. And of course the murder mystery part was really, really interesting to follow along with too. Next, I read My Lady Jane by Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This is probably my favorite book that I read this week. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Hilarious. I think so many people have told you guys how funny this book is, and if you haven't read it yet, even if you're not a fan of history or historical fiction, or you think that you're not going to like this genre at all, you still should pick it up. It's so funny. It just gives a new happy ending to a character that didn't get a happy ending in history, and it's so interesting and so funny. It's just hilarious. Like, I couldn't even tell you the number of things that are so funny. Something that I really appreciated that actually one of the authors tweeted me back about, because I had to tweet them and tell them how much I appreciated it, but at the end of the story there's kind of like a scuffle scene. I don't want to say it's like a fight scene, but there's like a scuffle, right? And I think it was Lady Jane found a frying pan, and she had to like defend herself, and so she hits this guy over the head with a frying pan, and then one of the other characters goes, "Frying pans, who knew?" which is a line from Tangled, and I loved it. It was literally probably the best line I've ever read this year in 2017. It was so funny. There were so many funny moments. One of the main characters turns into a horse, and the horse puns are just the best. I can't rave enough about this book, you guys. It is so fantastic, and I loved it. And the audiobook, I actually listened to it on audiobook, and the narrator is fabulous. Like I said, I cannot tell you guys to read this book enough. It is so good. Sorry if the angle changed a little bit. My camera died, and so I had to put in my other battery. But anyway, so the next things that I read were Alex and Ada volumes 1 and volume 2, and this is basically about a guy, and he's kind of in like a depressed state after his girlfriend or fiance leaves him, and so his grandmother gifts him this very advanced AI. They look like humans, and they are meant to be companions and help around the house and do things like that. And Alex finds out that there is a way to make these AI robots sentient, make them have, you know, they understand and they have human thoughts and feelings and things like that. And so he does this for Ada, and it kind of leads them on this journey because it's actually illegal to make AI robots sentient in this time period, and it obviously leads them to a lot of things, and it was just really interesting. I loved this story. I loved the relationship between Alex and Ada. I loved all the different types of characters. It was very it was diverse. There were people of color and people of different orientations and ethnicities, and it was just a really enjoyable experience to read all 3 of these volumes. I read volume 1 several months ago, and I just really enjoyed this story overall. It was excellent, and it was also very easy to follow the panels of this story. A really good choice to read if you really want to get into graphic novels, because it's just really easy to read it and flow through. It has very nice flow. I love the artwork in this story. Just very enjoyable read overall. After that, I read Red's Untold Tale and Regina Rising. These are both books that are like companions to the Once Upon a Time TV series, and I wasn't impressed with these. I just felt like I had really high hopes for both of these stories, and they didn't live up to that. But I'm going to talk about that more in my the Once Upon a Read Along live show, which is going to be held on this date. I don't know when that is because I have really bad memory. But definitely join me if you want to know why I was so disappointed in these reads. I think it has a lot to do with just I think the 3 stars that I did give them just has a lot to say for the respect that I have for the show and for the characters. I might have given this, like, I think I definitely would have given this a lower rating if I wasn't already familiar and in love with both of these characters, Regina and Red. But I'm going to talk more about that in the live show. So definitely join me if you're interested to know what my thoughts were about these. Then I read Descender volumes 17, 18, 19, and 20. I gave 17 3 stars. 18 I gave 5 stars, it was excellent, and then I gave 19 and 20 4 stars. So I love this series. I think it's by Jeff Lemire. I always think that it's by Rick Remender, but it's not. It's by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. And I think I always pronounce that last name wrong. I don't know, I'm sorry. But this is about another story that's set in the future about AI and robots, and in this world people called scrappers go and basically kill all of the AI and all of the robots because they started attacking people. And it follows Tim 21, who is a companion bot, and he's like a companion to a child. He's like a 10-year-old. Yeah, I think that's him right there. And so it kind of follows his story and what's going on with that. It's really good. I love the artwork in this one. It's a little bit more advanced, definitely not to start out with, but if you're a fan of comics and you really like the science fiction stories or AI, this is a comic for you. It's an excellent story. And last but not least, I read Trees Volume 1 and Volume 2, and this is about, it's a futuristic society, and basically like these huge, massive, ginormous trees. They're like 10 times as big around as a skyscraper, and they go all the way into the sky. You can't see the top of them from the ground, and they just kind of like land on Earth. There's like 6 or 8 of them or something like that, and they create kind of these catastrophic things. I mean, these huge things like landing on Earth, tidal waves and earthquakes and all these huge catastrophic things. But 10 years go by and the trees do nothing, and people kind of just like accept that they're there and move on with their daily lives until the trees start doing things and things start happening. And so scientists are starting to like, they've been researching the tree, but nothing's been happening until now, and it's kind of that kind of story, and it's really, really interesting, and the lives, it's you know, the lives of the people that live in the shadows of the trees is so cool. And this also has LGBTQIA characters in there, and characters of color, and diverse characters, and one of the main characters is actually transgender, and so it's just a very, very enjoyable series. I highly recommend it. Very, very good. I think this series won like so many awards when it first came out, and overall it's just really excellent. Alright, so that's everything that I read this week. It was a bunch. Sorry this video was so long. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it and you want to watch some more of my videos, you can click here. And if you would like to subscribe, you can click my face down here. And that would make me oh so happy. And definitely make sure you check out all the links in the description below for my social media. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!